So as I said, my name's Tamara Cronus, and I'm your common sense conservative candidate for Nanaimo Ladysmith. Now I have a question for you. After the lost NDP Liberal decade, where cost and crime are up, and where our economy is down and under the American's thumb, does anyone here really believe that the Liberals deserve a fourth term? We need to put Canada first for a change. A new conservative government will axe taxes, build homes, unleash resources, stop crime, and bring home our jobs so that we can stand up for Canada from a position of strength. Now, the thing I admire most about Pierre Poilievre is that he really cares about us. Every time he comes to the island, he asks me the same question. He says, Tamara, what are you hearing at the doors? And I am hearing the same thing that you're hearing. I am hearing that we need change. I am hearing that we need to put Canada first. And I am hearing that we need to elect Pierre Poilievre as our next Prime Minister. Now, here to tell you a little bit more about Pierre, the only man who can bring the change that we need to Canada. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Anaida Poilievre. Anna is an incredible entrepreneur who runs an online magazine called Pretty and Smart Co. She is a dedicated advocate against human trafficking. Who gives a voice to survivors through her online platform, Their Stories Matter. And she is a big supporter of women's empowerment. Through the Lead Her Forward initiative that seeks to pay it forward by inspiring, connecting, and empowering women. Born in Venezuela, raised in Montreal, she moved to Ottawa in 2006, met Pierre in 2012, and married him in 2017. Together, Anna and Pierre are the proud parents of Valentina and Cruz. Now, on top of everything else, Anna has been an incredible builder of our conservative movement. And her energy and creativity is behind a lot of the incredible merch that I see in this room today. There are some very cool things in this room. So I want you to raise your voices, shake your signs, and give a warm island welcome to Anaida Poilievre.
It's always such a pleasure to be in this side of the country. It seems like you guys always have better weather than us. Well, Canada, here we are in a crucial time where we must decide whether we are going to elect for a fourth time a liberal government that has left us with a weakened economy, rising crime, and a country divided. Or are we going to elect a conservative government who's going to put Canada first for a change? This journey began for my husband and our family about 3 years ago when Pierre decided to run for the Conservative Party of Canada leadership. Ever since, he has been traveling from coast to coast to coast so that he can step away from the Ottawa bubble and go and listen directly to Canadians. Because what we need is a government and a leader of the people, by the people. Leadership is not born in the boardroom of the elites. Leadership is not born from fancy degrees or titles. Leadership is born from the love of our country, true patriotism, our true north, strong and free. But my husband has been doing this way more than 3 years. He's been fighting most of his adult life for our families, our youth, our seniors, right here home in Canada. He's been proudly representing us. So, when Mr. Courtenay says that my husband doesn't know how the world works, I'll tell you what. He knows how Canada works and how to make it work for all of us. And I, of course, love and support all of my husband's policies. I truly believe they're going to help all Canadians. But in order to understand the why we're doing this, you have to know who the family is behind it all. My husband was born from a teenage mother, and he was given out for adoption to 2 school teachers from Saskatchewan. They worked really hard, they lived paycheck to paycheck, and Pierre had to fight for everything in his life. Nothing was handed to him. And I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. And my family migrated here to Canada when I was 8 years old in 1995. My father, he traded his business suits, he used to be a bank manager, to come here to Canada and pick up fruits and vegetables, wear secondhand clothes, because that's all he could do to feed our family. Eventually, he had 3 minimum wage jobs all in one day. He would wake up at 5 a.m., deliver newspapers, then he will go and work at a factory where he was making socks from 7 a.m. until 3 p.m., come home, take a shower, grab a bite, and then go and clean offices in the evening. All that to feed our family. He showed me that there is no greater dignity than to provide for your own family. All work is dignifying. When I was 17, I had moved out of home and I became 100% financially independent. By the time that I was 19, I packed up my suitcase, left Montreal, moved to Ottawa, took a student loan, took a job. I put myself through university, paid for rent, paid for food. And by the time that I was 25, I was working in the Senate, and this was a few months before I met Pierre. I had saved enough money so that I can put a down payment on a little town house in the east end of Ottawa. That was $230,000, that little town house. I had saved $25,000 to put the down payment. This was in 2012, 3 years before the Liberal government took office. That is what we call the Canadian promise, that if you work hard, you can get ahead and you can have a good life. And that's what we used to be able to do 10 years ago. This Canadian promise is no longer possible, but hey, guess what? There's hope, because change is on the way. It has been my pleasure to be with my husband throughout this journey every single day, to be with him at every single press conference, every single rally, every single event, to be by his side to fight for our country together, because you deserve it. We deserve it, a better country. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to share with all of you my husband and the next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre Poilievre.
Vancouver Island, I have a question. Who's voting for change? Who's voting for food and homes you can afford for a change? Who's voting for safe streets for a change? And who's voting to bring home Canada's promise for a change? Wow, what an incredible crowd. What an incredible introduction from my beautiful, brilliant wife. Isn't she amazing? Wow. And look at this amazing gathering of people who are rallying for change to bring home the country we knew and still love. This room reminds all Canadians that we have hope, that we have a bright future, and that we're going to get out and vote for that future and that change on Monday. A very good introduction from your local candidate and future Member of Parliament, Tamara Cronus. Give it up for her. She has not stopped working since the last election. People say they've seen more of her in the last 4 years than they've seen of the incumbent MP in their entire lives. She never stops door knocking. In fact, it's become a problem. The other night, she was out knocking, and it got to be 8:30, and people on her team said, maybe we should wrap it up. She said, no, we're going to do a few more doors. And so she kept knocking. And it got to 9 o'clock, and people said, you're going to start waking people up and losing votes. She said, no, it's so important. We need change in this country. So she kept going. 9:30, she won't stop. It's coming on to 10 o'clock. The lights are out in all the houses. She says, okay, fine. One more door at 10:01. She goes up to this house, lights are out, rings the doorbell. All of a sudden, babies are crying. So a few minutes later, the door smashed open, and it was a very angry woman. She said, "You just woke up my one-year-old triplets." And my husband, who is a Russian weightlifter, is just getting dressed to come down and have a word with you. She said, "That won't be necessary. Just tell him that the local NDP candidate came by to say hello." Quick thinking. Well done. We want change. 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 Change so you can afford food and homes. Change so you're safe on your streets. Change so we bring home jobs to this country so we can stand up for ourselves with strength. Change to make Canada a country where anyone who works hard can achieve a great life, live in a beautiful home on a safe street. That is my mission in politics, and that is what we are voting for when we vote for change on Monday. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Nous votons pour le changement, pour que vous puissiez vous offrir de nourriture et de logements abordables dans les communautés sécuritaires, dans les rues qui sont sécuritaires, avec un pays qui est uni, qui produit ses propres ressources et qui peut se tenir debout contre toute menace de l'étranger. My friends, it takes a team to have change. And that's what we have here in Vancouver Island. We have the great Conservative candidates, Kris McNichol, Jeff Kibble, Aaron Gunn, Kathy Onstead, and Angus Ross. Give them a round of applause for our local Conservative candidates for a change. Now, it's a stark choice that we face in this forthcoming election. It's not just about, I've been saying for a long time, that Mark Carney is running for Justin Trudeau's 4th term. We know what that means. Look at the last 10 years of Liberal government. Housing costs have doubled. Food prices have increased 37% faster in Canada under the Liberals than in the United States of America during the exact same time. Crime is pouring into our streets, up 50%. Gun crime up 116%. 50,000 Canadians have been lost to drug overdoses. Every day, I meet young people who are giving up on hope. They believe they'll never be able to leave their parents' basement. I meet people in their middle ages who are worried they're going to be evicted because the rent has skyrocketed. Seniors choosing between eating and heating. One man said tragically to me in a warehouse near Toronto a couple of months back that he feels like a failure. He works 3 jobs and never sees his kids. They ask him, "Dad, why are you never around? And why can't we ever move into a house out of this small apartment?" You know something? That man is not a failure. He is a hero. I want for his kids to grow up knowing that their dad went out into the jungle every day and fought for them to bring home a living and a life. He's not a failure. He is a hero to his family. The failure is the government that caused this out-of-control inflation through rampant money printing, overtaxation, growing bureaucracy, blocking everyone from creating, building, and doing things. It is the government that has failed the people. And after the lost Liberal decade of rising crime and costs, we cannot afford a 4th Liberal term. We need a change, my friends. Après la décennie perdue des libéraux avec des coûts et de la criminalité qui augmente, on ne peut pas nous offrir un quatrième mandat libéral. On a besoin du changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper les taxes et les impôts, éliminer la bureaucratie, exploiter nos ressources naturelles, ramener nos emplois ici pour que nous puissions se tenir debout avec la force. My friends, it's not just that things won't get better with a fourth Liberal term. It's that they will get so much worse. Mark Carney has announced in his platform that not only will he keep all of Justin Trudeau's outrageous overspending, he will add $130 billion more. When you add Trudeau's planned spending for the next 4 years with the $130 billion of additional Carney spending, it adds up to $250 billion of new inflationary debt that will drive up your cost of living for food and gas while threatening our economy. Mr. Carney will print money to pay for it, which will cause rampant inflation. Good for people like him. His money is protected from taxes over in overseas tax havens. His company, which he's still invested in, benefits when rents go up. They're the landlord. They make money off of inflation while you pay it. Inflation is the worst tax. It takes from the working class and the seniors and gives to the wealthy billionaire class. A transfer of wealth from the have-nots to the have-yachts. My friends, if you don't believe me that this is the future, then believe the government when that's what they write. Has anybody seen this report? Future lives, social mobility in question. I think this is actually the real Liberal platform for the next 15 years. Here's what they describe. First of all, there's a section. Imagine whenever you see a section in a report that is entitled 2040 More Snakes Than Ladders, you know you're dealing with a real whopper here. It says, in 2040, upward mobility is almost unheard of in Canada. Hardly anyone believes they can build a better life for themselves or their children through their own efforts. However, many worry about sliding down the social order. Now that's fancy bureaucratese for saying, doesn't matter how hard you work, you're not getting ahead and you'll probably fall behind. They go on to say, in 2040, owning a home is not a realistic goal for many. Most new homeowners get help from family members. Then, in 2040, people see inheritance as the only reliable way to get ahead. People rarely mix with others of different socioeconomic classes. What that means is there's a tiny group of wealthy elite that keep to themselves and protect what they have, and everyone else is completely shut out. Then they go to say that increasingly Canada will look like an aristocracy, where there's a special group that sits on top of all the wealth and everyone else works and scrounges to pay the bills. It gets so bad, they continue, that at some point they say that people will no longer be able to go to grocery stores. They will have to hunt, fish, and forage on public lands just to pay their bills. Not even to pay their bills, just to feed their families. This is the very dark Liberal future if we re-elect them to a fourth term. But the good news is we don't have to. We can choose change on Monday. We can take back control of our lives and build a bright future. There's another plan. So there's another way. It's this change platform, a very detailed plan to turn the country around, unleash the power of our brilliant workers and entrepreneurs, our resources, grow our economy, build homes that our youth can afford, and frankly, we should be aiming our sights on making Canada the richest country on earth. There's no reason not to. And you know, I do have some bad news for our candidates, though. I have to give it to you. I might as well tell you now, in front of all your families. Your summer vacation is canceled. Right? Because after you get elected, I've committed to 100 days of urgent change. We will be passing 3 large, omnibus bills, the Affordability for a Change Act, the Safe Streets for a Change Act, the Bring Our Jobs Home for a Change Act, and there will be no summer vacation until all three of these laws are passed and our country is en route to change. Pas de vacances estivales avant que le Parlement adopte des lois pour faire changement, pour rendre la vie abordable et sécuritaire dans nos rues. We're not having vacations because what is more important than politicians spending time at the cottage is your ability to pay your bills. So let me tell you about what's going to be in these bills, these laws. The Affordability for a Change Act. We'll cut $55 billion of consultants, foreign aid, bureaucratic excess, and we will use those savings to bring down the deficit by 70%. Deb Gray. Thank you. Deb Gray, do you agree with that plan? What do you think? All right, we have Deb Gray on side, everybody. A great Canadian hero, Deb Gray. Randy White is in the crowd as well, another former member of Parliament. Thank you, Randy. This law will go further. When we cut back on this $55 billion, I want the money to go into your pockets. I want you to gain purchasing power. Right now, you're spending more on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined. It's the single largest family expense after the lost Liberal decade. That is why we are announcing that a Conservative government will cut income tax by 15% so that hard work pays off for a change. A working couple or a retired couple will save almost $2,000 directly in this tax relief. Furthermore, we will reward the hard work of seniors who make the decision to go into the workforce. If they want to continue to share their wisdom and insight, they shouldn't be punished with clawbacks and taxes. We will let working seniors earn $34,000 fully tax-free so that their contributions pay off for a change. And then there's the Carney tax. Is anybody here about the Carney tax? You know about this? You know what it is? Yeah, it's hard to, I got to narrow it down. There's more than one. So Mark Carney says that nobody should be driving gas and diesel powered cars. So how about getting around in the middle of the winter in rural Canada with a Tesla? Anybody looking forward to that? So starting next year, they have an electric car mandate they want to bring in that will limit the number of gas and diesel vehicles that a dealership can sell, and every vehicle over that quota will be hit with a $20,000 tax. The Carney tax. The Carney tax. It even works. It's Carney tax. Car, it's a car. It's got car right in it. So as the years go by, they're going to make this quota lower and lower, so that by early next decade, the gas and diesel vehicles will be banned altogether, and you won't be able to drive the car of your choice. This will add more expenses. It will destroy 36,000 auto manufacturing jobs in Canada will be destroyed. And by the way, where does the money go from the tax? It goes to subsidize electric car makers like Tesla. Isn't that something? So Carney wants to kill jobs in our auto sector to subsidize foreign automakers for vehicles that don't work in our climate and with our long driving distances. My friends, within 100 days, and before there's any vacation for the politicians, my government will axe the Carney tax completely. Axe the tax. And then there's the food packaging tax. They want to ban all plastics. How do you think your food is going to stay fresh? It's going to go bad about 80% faster when they ban the plastics, all while killing jobs in our businesses. We have businesses that produce plastic. We have a petrochemical business in Western Canada. They want to kill jobs, make our food go bad more quickly, all to support their radical environmental agenda, which, by the way, does absolutely nothing for the environment, given that most of the plastics in question are actually recycled and repurposed. I will get rid of the food packaging tax to save you money on your food. But the Affordability for a Change Act requires we do something about housing. Housing prices have raged out of control during this lost Liberal decade. Are they pricey around here? Yeah. What does it cost to rent a place? Too much, obviously. Come on, you can give me some examples. $3,000, what do you get for that? Couple bedrooms? Unbelievable. And what does it cost to buy the average house here now? Anybody know? You're in the millions. Okay, so you're all millionaires? No? You know, you used to be. Well, you know, 10 years ago, if somebody said they had $1 million house, we were talking about a castle on a hill. Not anymore. That's the average house in the GTA. It's below average in the GTA and the greater Vancouver area. In fact, do you know that a house in the lower mainland of BC, an average home, costs more than a castle in Sweden? You literally buy a castle for the cost of the average home. Now, this is because we have too much bureaucracy and taxes. Fully 1/3 of the cost of every newly built home is just taxes. And then there's the bureaucracy that delays, and then you have to have the consultants that bill $2,000–3,000 a day to fill out the paperwork. Then there's lobbyists and lawyers. In fact, they did a study, and in Vancouver, if you take the cost of building a home and compare it to the cost of buying a home, there's a gap of $1.3 million. That's the government share. Twice as much money goes to government bureaucrats than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the homes. My friends, we're going to slash the bureaucracy and axe the taxes to build the homes as part of our 100 days of change. We will axe the federal sales tax on new homes, saving you up to $65,000 on a purchase. We will also incentivize municipalities to free up land and speed up permits. We'll pay them half the cost of cutting their development charges, with the goal of knocking $100,000 off the taxes on each new home. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build 300,000 homes across our country. The goal, the mission, must be to build 2.3 million new homes within the next 5 years so that you can afford a place to live. And while we are at it, we will stop the uncontrolled growth in our population. We cannot add 1.2 million people a year. To make housing affordable, we will cap population growth to ensure we always add homes, jobs, and healthcare services faster than we add to our population. We must reverse the radical, uncontrolled, liberal immigration policy that Mark Carney has pledged to continue. We're not interested in a century initiative to turn Canada into 100 million people. We're interested in a country that takes care of the people that we have. And we want to bring home our jobs to Canada. Make this a country where we take care of ourselves, stand on our own 2 feet, produce our own resources, including our prodigious oil and gas. We should be the richest country in the world. We have the 3rd biggest supply of oil, the 5th biggest supply of natural gas, the biggest supply of uranium, biggest supply of potash. These are all, you like uranium? Are you into nukes over there? We've got a nuclear physicist over here. It's good energy. Nuclear energy is good energy. We have the most water that can run through hydroelectric dams, the biggest oceanic coastline of any country on planet Earth. You like the coast? Yeah, right. Are you the captain of the ship? 44 years. Good stuff. 44 years doing what? Ordering them around. Okay, so you're the boss. Okay, we're bringing you to Ottawa. We're going to put you in charge of procurement, okay? All right. Excellent. She's hired. What a team. What's this? More freedom. We're definitely going to make this the freest country on earth, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. But we need the freedom to produce our incredible resources. Right now, our resource sector is smothered by anti-development laws and high taxes on investment. The energy and resource companies say that if we want to be a self-reliant nation, we need to do 5 things. First, we need to repeal the No New Development Law C-69. I will do it. Mark Carney says he will keep C-69. We need to repeal the tanker ban so we can ship our resources overseas. I will do it. We need to get rid of the government-imposed energy cap to unleash the production of more energy here in Canada. We need 6-month permitting times rather than 17 years. It now takes 17 years to get a mine approved. We can't wait 17 years. When I'm Prime Minister, we're setting the goal of approving major projects within 6 months of receiving a completed application. And then we need to get rid of the uncertainty. Businesses are not going to set aside billions of dollars for projects that may never go ahead. I'll give you an example. The incredible Squamish people had an LNG project. Oh, we got a little guy there is a little, I think I was just talking about the liberal economic policies and the poor guy got sick. That's okay, it happens. It happens. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. But, you know, we have in this, the great Squamish people, they are finally getting shovel in the ground on their LNG project. Do you know how long it took them to get a permit? 14 years. 14 years. This is a project that will be the most in fact, it's not only responsible, they're cleaning up the environment. There's an old mill that had polluted the place 25 years ago, completely contaminated. They're cleaning up the contamination and turning it into the most environmentally friendly LNG plant in the world, and the government stood in the way for 14 years. Here's my plan. We're going to draw a circle around certain areas in the country. After doing all the environmental studies and making sure that they are the right place to put them, and then we will pre-permit the projects so that businesses know they already have permission to go ahead with clear permits, clear conditions, clear specifications. They're called Canada First shovel-ready zones. Shovel-ready zones. Show up, start building. We can do this in housing as well. The Squamish, you know what they did in Vancouver? Because they didn't have to follow city bylaws, it was on their reserve. They were able to build 6,000 housing units on 10 acres of land. That's a lot of homes for a lot of deserving families, which they will lease out and then be able to make money off. That never would have happened if Vancouver City Hall had anything to do with it. If we can clear zones, get the permitting done, we can build homes, we can develop our resources, we can create jobs, and we can take back control of our economic destiny. That will be part of the bill that we bring in. The Bringing Home Our Jobs for a Change Act will pass in the first 100 days. But we need suits. We need boots, not suits. We need the builders. We have any trades in the hall today? Yes, lots of trades. What do we got here? What do you do, sir? Boilermaker, excellent. You'll definitely want to get us some nuclear power plants built then, eh? Do you know the Boilermakers Union has endorsed me and the Conservatives? Is that great? I love them. Great guys. No, the National Boilermakers Union did endorse me. Look it up. I'll get you the letter. Good folks. They gave us great support. Thank you for your hard work, my friend. What else do we got? What other trades? What do we got? What's your trade? You're an electrician. That's shocking. What else? What are you? Another electrician. Carpenter. More carpenters. Yes, you're a carpenter? Young guy. How old are you? Holy smokes, you look young. You're working hard. That's fantastic. What do we got over here? Combat engineer. That's a great trade. You know, it is too bad. The governments have looked their noses down on the trades, but the best jobs are going to be in the trades. And that's why my government is going to put the lion's share of training and education money into the trades. We're going to partner with union halls in order to train up 350,000 young people for careers in the licensed trade. We will bring in tax fairness for our trades workers. Right now, a CEO can write off an unlimited amount for his private jet, but a trades worker is capped at $4,000. If you're traveling from northern BC to the Timmins coal mine or off to the offshore in Newfoundland, and you're doing that 15, 20 times in a year, you're going to go way over that $4,000 limit, and then you're going to pay out of pocket in order to earn a living without being able to claim those expenses that you needed to incur. The principle of our tax system is that you can write off the cost it took to earn the income. We will pass the Tax Fairness for Traveling Trades Workers Act so you can write off the full cost of food, transportation, and accommodation to get from one job site to another. And we're also going to send a beautiful present to every high school principal in the country. I know the Constitution says education is provincial, but there's no rule that says a prime minister cannot give a gift to a high school principal. It's going to be a box. Are you a high school principal over there? This is going to be a box about the size of this stage. And in that box will be a module for every licensed trade. It will be developed by the Red Seal Council, so that our young people can begin pre-apprenticeships as early as age 14. Get a jump start. Get that red seal early, and then they're going to come out and they're going to be working, building LNG plants, mines, data centers, affordable homes. They're going to be earning big, fat, six-figure salaries. Mom and dad, your kids are going to be paying for dinner on Sunday night. They're going to be making money and doing well and bringing you grandchildren too. Well, on a un plan pour rendre la vie abordable. On va adapter une loi pour l'abordabilité pour faire changement, ce qui va couper le déficit libéral de 70% en éliminant la bureaucratie et les consultants. On va couper les impôts de 15% pour récompenser le travail, éliminer le taxe de vente sur les maisons neuves pour rendre la vie abordable. C'est le plan d'action avant la fin d'été. My friends, we want these paychecks to be in safe neighborhoods. So we have to stop the crime for a change. Is there any crime around here? You guys have any crime in this area? Yeah. What kind of crime do you have? Everything. Yes? There was a burglary just down the road. Yep. Home invasions. Is it getting better or is it getting worse? Nanaimo is, you know, I got off the plane in Nanaimo, not this time, I think about a year and a half ago. Got off the plane, the pilot walked up to me, he showed me a video of the previous night, his backyard security cam. There were a couple of guys rummaging around in his backyard, stealing his equipment. And then I walked over to the little newspaper. What's the newspaper called here? The Nanaimo which? News Bulletin, front page. It had record overdoses in Nanaimo. And then we walked up to one of our local Conservative volunteers who was greeting us there, and he said, the gentleman who was supposed to introduce you tonight at the rally, he's in the hospital because his tools were stolen. They were brought over to the tent city. He went to get his tools back and he was viciously assaulted and ended up in a hospital. That was my first 10 minutes in Nanaimo when I arrived from one of my previous visits. This is one of the most beautiful places in the world with the best people. And you shouldn't have to live this way. You should not have to live this way. It was not like this before the catch and release criminal justice system was brought in by the Liberals. C-75, which requires judges release the offender, the accused, at, quote, the earliest occasion, under, quote, the least onerous conditions. That's why in Vancouver they had to arrest the same 40 offenders 6,000 times. Each one of these guys was arrested 150 times a year, all year long. They really had to be working at it full time. It's like maybe two full-time jobs to do that much crime and get caught. And these guys, they don't have benefits. They don't have unions representing them. They do have room and board. They stay in the penitentiary just long enough to have a nice meal, and they leave and they come back. It's like the Hotel California. They check out, but they never really leave, right? And then there's C5, the house arrest law, that allows the same offenders again and again to serve their sentences in the comfort of their living room, watching Netflix or playing Grand Theft Auto. And you expect that they're going to pay a price when they're at home? And then there's the get out of jail free card for Paul Bernardo, C-83. My friends, before the politicians leave for a summer vacation, our 100 days of change, we'll pass the Safe Streets for a Change Act. Here's what it will be. We will repeal catch and release bail. We will repeal house arrest. We will repeal the Paul Bernardo law. We will pass 3 strikes you're out. An offender convicted of 3 serious offenses will not be eligible for parole, bail, probation, or house arrest. It will be a minimum mandatory 10 years behind bars, after which their release will not be guaranteed. They will have to earn release through perfect behavior, clean drug tests, and learning an employable skill. Getting out of jail will be an earned privilege, not a guaranteed right for serious offenders. And we will bring back consecutive rather than concurrent sentences, so multiple murderers do not get a bulk discount. They're going to do a life sentence for every single murder they commit. The Supreme Court said that one guy who killed 6 people should be eligible to apply for parole after 25 years. He'll be in his 50s. He'll only have served 4 years for each life he took. That is insane, it is wrong, and I will use the notwithstanding clause to overturn that decision and lock up the worst murderers. And then we will secure our borders. Our porous Liberal borders, 99% of shipping containers come in without any inspection at all. That's where the drugs, guns, and stolen cars move. Then we have the CBSA is not even allowed to patrol between official ports of entry, so people and drones can come in easily. Our plan will bring in high-powered scanners that can look into every shipping container at our major ports to see what's inside and stop the contraband. We'll have 2,000 more CBSA officers, boots on the ground. We will bring in watchtowers that have surveillance capability all along the frontier, and we will pay for it by canceling the wasteful multi-billion-dollar gun grab that targets our hunters and sport shooters. The gun grab, that's right. We're going to respect. Do we have any hunters in the room? It's hilarious. They say in their famous report that by 2040 you won't be able to afford any food, so you'll have to go hunting for scraps, but they want to ban your hunting rifle. So how's that going to work? Are there any archers here? You have to go archery. Oh, we got some archers over here. That takes a lot of patience. And you got to get it right. You miss, you ain't getting a second chance. And that deer is gone. Quick. Yeah. What's that? We're getting rid of that. Absolutely. We're getting rid of the Liberal ban on our hunters. Our licensed, law-abiding sports shooters are not the problem. Make no mistake, though. The Liberals will ban every single civilian firearm. Every hunting rifle will be banned if they get back in, and the NDP will be happy to help them. My friends, the choice on crime is very simple. Either after the lost Liberal decade of raging crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder, we cannot afford a fourth Liberal term. We need a change to lock up the criminals, respect the hunters, and bring home safe streets for all of us. That's safety. We must stop the drug. Who's this? Oh, there he is. I met this guy already. Come on up here. He's going to stop the crime. Who's this? Remind me your name. We met already.
Maxim.
Muxum. I met you in Penticton, didn't I? Yeah, what a great kid. And so, are you here to tell me that I have a ticket?
No.
Oh, thank God. I saw that pen there. I thought you were going to write me up for something. I thought maybe I parked in the wrong spot. So, you're going to be a police officer when you grow up?
Yes.
And why do you want to be a police officer?
To protect the city.
Isn't that wonderful? What a great kid. Is this your sister? Who's this? What's her name?
Stella.
And Stella, do you know this police officer? Okay. Would you like to meet him?
Sure.
Okay, well, you better shake his hand. There you go. New friends. Maybe you'd like to be a police officer as well?
No.
What would you like to do?
Be a vet.
You want to be a vet? That's wonderful. What an incredible couple of kids. Amazing. Hey, we have an incredible future with kids like this, hey? Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks very much, everybody. Good to meet you, sweetheart. Many blessings. Oh, my. What's that? Sports fishing. Yeah. Thank you. I love you, too. What an incredible crowd we have. Yep. Thank you very much. And we're going to fight for our safety. We're going to fight for our kids. Those kids should not have to worry about stepping on dirty needles and crack pipes in the community. In the Lower Mainland, there are families that have to go to the soccer pitch an hour before the game. The parents have to line up in a row, walk the whole distance to make sure there's no drug paraphernalia to infect their kids. Meanwhile, we've lost 50,000 of our loved ones to drug overdoses, mostly fentanyl. A policy of radical drug liberalization has caused this problem to spread. Nowhere worse than in BC, where this so-called safe supply experiment has been most enthusiastically embraced, and where the federal Liberals and provincial NDP agreed to a decriminalization experiment that caused massive death. Everywhere I go, I meet families who've lost loved ones, promising young people who took a hit of something they didn't know about after they'd had too much to drink, or maybe they got an injury and got hooked on an opioid. My friends, we can turn this around, and we have a plan to do it. We're going to ban the drugs. We'll stop giving out tax-funded opioids. We're going to secure our borders. We will secure our borders to keep the drugs out. And finally, we will invest in treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free. It will involve physical exercise, counseling, group therapy, yoga, job placement, transitional housing, getting people back on their feet and back into good lives. We will fund only those organizations that have a track record of getting people off drugs. I went to one such organization in Moncton not long ago, and it's called Harvest House. And I met these young men who were cleaning their lives up and turning it around, and they said, "Thank you for your help." And I said, "Don't thank me. I'm actually here to ask you for something. I need you. I need you to get better. Because when you are better, you're going to go out on the street and grab some guy off the street corner, and you're going to drag him in here, and then he's going to get better, and he's going to go back on the street and drag someone else in here, and one by one we're going to turn lives around and end this drug crisis forever for a change." It's going to be a hopeful future. A hopeful and brighter future where redemption is always possible. Anyone who wants to turn their life around will have an ally and a friend in a future Poilievre government. We need to protect this country and all of its people and uphold the great traditions of our past. But most of all, we need to be a secure and strong nation. So a conservative government will rebuild our long neglected military and support our troops. Four big, powerful, Canadian-made Arctic icebreakers will be pushing through the ice and clearing the waters to ensure that the Russians and Chinese no longer do incursions. We will have submarines, Poseidon aircraft to surveil and intercept any incursions in our waters. We will have fighter jets and more landing strips. We will fill the vacancies in our Army, Air Force, and Navy, and we will build the first, we'll build the first Arctic base since the Cold War, CFB Iqaluit. We will honor our veterans who serve this country. Well, we have some veterans over here. Give it up for our veterans, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Afghanistan, at least I could tell. Another veteran, thank you very much for your service, my friend. Thank you. Another veteran, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service to our country. We're going to build a big, beautiful monument to all of the soldiers who fought in Afghanistan. And can you believe, all these years later, still no monument for the brilliant young men and women who went and fought in the most dangerous place in the world. We will ensure, we'll bring in a Helmets to Hard Hats program and expand it so that our veterans, young veterans, can take their incredible trades. We had a combat engineer and use those trades in the civilian economy, earning powerful paychecks. We will give a default treatment. So if someone is injured, we will assume that they got the injury from their service, and we will provide them with compensation and support so they don't have to fight their own government. We will stop apologizing for our history. No more cancel culture. For a change. Our passport will once again have its pages filled with our heroes, Terry Fox, the famous Five, the soldiers at Vimy Ridge, and countless others. We will also reinstate freedom of speech by canceling the liberal censorship laws. For a change. Our purpose will be to unite our country around our common history, our common values, our common sense. We're going to see ourselves as Canadians first. We welcome people from all around the world. We welcome different cultures and traditions. But we also believe that when you come to Canada, you put this country first. You're part of a new national family. And everyone is welcome in that family. We will unite all Canadians for the purpose of the Canadian Promise. The Canadian Promise which allowed me, the adopted son of school teachers, to stand on this stage that allowed my wife to arrive here as a refugee from Venezuela, 6 people in a basement apartment, and now a family that is wonderfully successful, that allowed generations of hardworking families to pass on a better life from one to the next. A country that is not made up of tax collectors and toll masters, bureaucrats and busybodies, gatekeepers and grandees, rulers and rule makers. No, we are a nation of artists and adventurers, of entrepreneurs and explorers, a nation of workers and warriors, of pioneers and patriots. We are a nation that stands up for itself, builds homes for its kids, protects its borders, honors its past, defends its vulnerable, believes in itself, honors those who came before us, and passes down the great treasures that we inherited to those who will come after us. We do all of this by raising our flag and saying that anyone from anywhere can do anything, that hard work gets you a beautiful life and an affordable home on a safe street under our proud flag. Canada first, Canada always. Let's bring it home.